If your entire adult life has been reduced to, I can't succeed because Becky didn't like my Bantu knots, then sis, listen, you don't need a new law. You need a new mindset because something's wrong. Because when the government has to pass legislation to protect you from the trauma of someone allegedly not liking your hair, and you want to elevate this as some sort of civil rights win, I'm sorry, that's just the epitome of cultural toddlerhood. And I'm gonna just say it. You need to simply grow the heck up. Okay, y'all, what am I talking about? Listen, Pennsylvania Governor Josh, I'm sorry, his name is Josh Shapiro. Um, he recently proved that the bar in America, it isn't low. It's darn near underground because this man is out here virtue signaling and signing a bill called the Crown Act. And he's doing it like he's freeing Harriet Tubman 2.0 over a twist out. Y'all, this is some foolishness. Let's get into this. Grace and peace, you guys. Welcome back to Unshakable with April Chapman, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. I'm your host, April Chapman, and welcome to today's show. Y'all, I know I am a little late to the party in covering this, but today, y'all, I want to talk about, have you guys heard of the Crown Act? Well, let me tell you what the Crown Act is. In Pennsylvania, they've officially become the 28th state to pass this law, and it's called the Crown Act. And y'all, I was today years old when I found out that there are actually other states who've actually bowed the knee to this foolishness. And the way they're celebrating, you guys, you think somebody who just resurrected Rosa Parks and just gave her some starter locks or something. So let me bring you up to speed on what this bill is about. Now, this Crown Act bill, it basically says that employers and schools are not allowed to discriminate against people because of their hairstyles, wait for it, that are considered historically associated with race. So basically, we're talking afros, braids, locks, twists, coils, like the whole natural hair spectrum is probably included. Now, I don't buy this widespread foolishness that employers are just not hiring qualified individuals over their hair. First of all, I wore my natural hair like in its natural state, the way it grew out of my scalp, unstraightened, unprocessed for over 11 years. And I did so while I was also in corporate America. And I'll never forget, it was after my second son, who's 15 now. I had cut out all my relaxer, and it started out as a little TWA, a teeny weeny afro. And then once I learned what to do with my hair, I would kind of alternate between a twist out and a wash and go. It just depends on how I felt. But not one time did anyone ever say anything to me other than, "Oh, your hair looks cute. Oh, I love it." Like I always would get compliments on my hair. Now, for some reason, this new law is being celebrated as inspiring and empowering. And I'm like, wow, out of all of the problems in the world, this is what is empowering us. To me, this is just weird and disingenuous because we've had Black women walking around with afros like since the 60s. We've had braids and locks, Bantu knots, wash and goes. We've had all of these different varieties of natural hairstyles for decades. And somehow, Black people still manage to get jobs and run corporations, become surgeons and lawyers and CEOs, astronauts, and a whole Supreme Court justice. I'm sorry. This is just a bunch of projection. As long as your hair is clean and neat and it doesn't smell and it's not a safety hazard, nobody cares. But here we are, pretending America in 2025 is still walking around saying, "Oh, no job for you, Negro. You got to relax them edges." Like, if y'all don't stop the madness and stop looking for ways to be a freaking victim, this is ridiculous. Let me tell you, the real issue here is corporate identity versus your individual expression. And this is the part that everybody misses. Because when you work for a corporation, there is this line of demarcation where your personal identity ends and the corporate identity begins. Like everybody who's an adult understands that. This is not oppression. This is not white supremacy. This is called adulthood, right? Like only children demand to wear their Superman costume to church. Only children want to wear their princess gown to the park to play. It's the same thing with this darn hair foolishness. Children are the ones who demand their way despite etiquette and standards having already been set and established for all ethnicities. Listen, white people will run into the same problems if they just one day decide they're going to stop washing their hair and all of a sudden clip bows into it and wear it all over the place. Like, Becky can argue all day that having dirty hair with bows in it, that might be her freedom of expression, but Becky will be out of a job too. Mark my words. So trust me, it is not your race. It's your entitlement attitude that's the problem. Corporations have a culture. Corporations have a brand identity. Corporations have standards. And that's just the beauty of capitalism. I love the way the capitalistic system works. Why? Because if you don't like the company's appearance standards, you don't like their dress code, you don't like their vibe, no problem. You go build your own. You start your own company and you tell your employees that they can show up looking like a pack of background extras from the Jungle Book, whatever floats your boat. If your employees come to work with their heads looking like a rat's nest, do you, pimpin'? Let the chunky, ratty, free-form locks just drag the daggone carpet. You can even make it a no comb allowed zone. Live your truth. But trust me, that's going to require some responsibility. You're going to have to take on the risk, the hustle, the sacrifice, the discipline. You know, all the things that the crybaby underachievers that are running behind this crown neck avoid like the plague. It's just a bunch of professional complainers and perpetual victims. That's what they are. Because it's real easy to blame hair discrimination, but it is much harder to admit that your attitude stinks, you show up late, you don't meet deadlines, you do the bare minimum just to get by. Oh, I know, trust me, I've worked with you heifers. You're some of the most difficult people to get along with. Everything's a problem. Every email is a passive aggressive clapback. You've got to me all the time and it's all about me. Like everybody knows it, okay? You treat the job like it's a daycare center. The problem is not your hair, boo-boo. It's your character. And that's all it's ever been. And so many of us out here in the real world have been trying to help you see that. And you keep pointing to everything else out there when it's you. Now, although, you guys, I could go on and rant about these bad actors all day long. I really could. But what I want to do, let me spend some time talking to you guys about what the law actually does and what it doesn't do. Okay? Now, the Crown Act, it does not, unfortunately, magically guarantee that you're going to get a job. That's not how this works. All this law does is it guarantees that an employer won't tell you that the reason that they didn't hire you. So basically, it's nothing new. They'll smile and nod and shake your hand and do all of the things, and then they'll quietly just write, not a good fit. Oh, they're not going to mention that the 42-inch locks dragging on the copier. They're not going to mention, right, that the unkept mop on your head that looks like it lost a fight with a weed whacker. They're not going to mention that either. They're just going to move on to the candidate who understands the assignment, the one who got the memo. What this entire grievance crowd fails to realize is that your gifts will make room for you. Okay, let me read this to you. Proverbs 22, verse 29 says, Do you see a man skillful in his work? He will stand before kings. Did you catch that? The key word in the verse is skillful. The one who is skillful and disciplined and who conducts themselves with excellence. Not the do you see a man who wants to express himself at work like a personal art exhibit? No, it doesn't say that. We're called to excellence, not entitlement or self expression. Don't nobody give a darn about how you want to express yourself. This is yet another example of what happens to a society when standards collapse. That's all. That's what we're watching. This whole era is obsessed with special treatment. Everyone and everything has to bend and bow and adjust to my truth, my comfort, my identity, my expression. And now it's my hair. This is the same individualism on steroids that has biological men today demanding tampon dispensers in men's bathrooms and kindergartners choosing their pronouns. It's the same thing. What's the difference? Because the question is, where does it end? If hair is now protected, what's next? Now you're gonna be, well, you can't fire me for smelling like weed because it's part of my culture, right? Or you can't discipline me for wearing pajamas because this is necessary for my mental health. I must show up as my authentic self. Or next it's gonna be, you can't correct me for being late because time is a colonial construct. And since I'm an indigenous person, these rules don't apply to me. Listen, stop it. Cut it out. Pack it up. Nobody cares. Okay? We've got to get back to some basic standards. And they're not hard. Be clean. Show up looking neat. Smell benign. Be presentable. Be professional. See how simple that was? Your hair is your hair. Do what you want with it. But no company is obligated to merge your personal brand with their corporate identity. You're going to lose that battle every time, and nobody's going to tell you. I've run a small business, okay? At the height and success of our business, we had 11 employees. Under no uncertain terms did I ever share my corporate identity with any of my employees' self-expression. Okay, listen, you can go get another job in a heartbeat. I'm not playing into such foolishness. You don't have to be here. This is an at-will state. And if your hair is that important to you, you need to go find you a company that respects your self-expression, but you can't come here looking like that. Here's the deal. All of the point that all of the women who advocated for this foolishness, here's what they fail to understand. They are failing to comprehend that this law is not about equality. No, this is about there's this concerted effort to soften society. The goal is to just have an erosion of standards where we're creating perpetual victims, teaching people that anytime you experience discomfort, that must equal injustice. And so therefore, legislation must step in to protect you. But out here in the real world, the one where adults function in a well-ordered society, virtues such as work hard, show up in excellence, discipline your body and your presentation. Those simple virtues are the ones that winners possess. But this dumb law, the Crown Act, it offers a stolen version of dignity. Why? Think about it. This law tells people that dignity comes from the state protecting your feelings instead of from God, who calls you to walk in conviction and to live at peace with all men. Why is your whole existence a whole headache these days? Why do you think everyone has black fatigue? It's because of foolishness like this and the white liberal who enables it. All y'all get on my nerves. Listen, if your hair is neat, maintained, clean, and safe for the job and the role that you possess, and it's aligned with the company's corporate culture, fine. Ain't nobody sweating you like that. But if you think society owes you special rules because you refuse to meet basic standards, you need to grow up. You need to grow up. You're not built for this. Aren't you sick and tired of these liberals treating you like fragile children who can't cope with the basics of life? It's time for y'all to grow up. The problem is not discrimination, it's your delusion. And I'm here to tell you about it. Why not raise the bar? Why not make your ancestors proud instead of standing up at a press conference celebrating a dumb law that makes you the center of your own underachieving universe? How about that? But listen, I've ranted enough about this. I'm curious to know from you guys. What do you guys think? I know many of you think that I am so harsh, but seriously, we needed a piece of legislation regarding our hair. The only people group who we need a special law because of our hair. Because it is different. It's beautiful. It's glorious. But this is what we're doing now. While our whole communities are at the bottom of everything else, this was the solution to so many of our problems. Yeah, okay. Listen, I'm curious to know. What do you guys think? I want you to leave me a comment down in the box below. And until next time, you guys, stand firm, stay bold, and above all else, stay unshakable. Grace and peace.